Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Joe and Tell. I am Joe, and we are on the front porch talking about pipe purchase number 11. And we go back to Savinelli for this pipe purchase, and I had wanted to get a different shaped pipe than what I had been getting thus far. So I got a Savinelli Tre Smooth 301 KS, not sure what the or 310 KS. Not sure what the numbers and letters stand for, but it's a poker and it's got the flat bottom, which I really like. And it's just a short little, nice little pipe. Again, the Savinelli, the quality is beautiful and the grain's beautiful. It's got the little silver band. Got the, I don't know if you can see that, the logo on the top there. And I've thoroughly enjoyed this pipe. Smokes cool, and yeah, it's just a nice pipe in general. I will say that um, over at some point in time, I was going to a friend's house, and I brought this with me. I had it in my pocket, and I got out of the car, and it fell out of my pocket, hit the gravelly, asphalty road, and went skidding across the road. So I was like, oh no! So I think that might have been the first time I dropped a pipe. And you probably won't be able to see it, but there are some scuffs and scrapes, and it's been banged up, unfortunately. Again, it doesn't affect the quality of the smoke, but the pipe is not as pristine as it once was, which leads me to another story that I would like to share with you as soon as I get this lit. Oh, by the way, in it I have some Cornell and Diehl's Bayou Morning, so I'm gonna light this up and share a story. As soon as I get the tobacco off my tongue. Always lovely. It is a beautiful morning today. Nice and cool. I think in the low 60s. And a nice change of pace. I was reading, and somebody did a story on the Farmer's Almanac and was saying that apparently the U.S. is supposed to get a pretty intense winter this year. Colder than normal temperatures and above average snowfall for most of the country, I think. But right now, it's pretty darn nice out here. And I'm going to enjoy it. Anyway, enough rambling. On to my story. So I mentioned the pipe got banged up quite a bit, and in a previous video, I had talked about being a fairly accident-prone child. I talked about breaking my arm and fracturing my skull within a day of each other, and my mom only knowing about one of them. But thinking about my poor banged-up pipe made me think about some of the other things that I had done as a kid, some of the other accidents that had happened to me. Some of them pretty severe, some of them not so much, and some of them just plain risky. But I guess things I've done. But I essentially uh, played a lot outside as a kid and would get hurt doing so, like most kids probably. My dad owned his own construction company, so going there, there were saws and power tools, and I mean, it was essentially like a giant jungle gym for a kid. It was amazing. I could dig in the sand. I could, I would take my Hot Wheel cars and make tracks, and It was a blast. Well, one day I was up there, and it was a work day, so everybody was around, and I went and got a keyhole saw, which I think is typically just like a jab saw. I think it's very similar to like a drywall saw, which I happen to have right here. This guy. So this is a drywall jab saw, and a keyhole jab saw is just like this, except not nearly as intense. So that was my sword as a young guy. And I went around the construction site, I was king, I had my sword. Well, I happened to see a giant pile of drywall that was all scrap. I'm like, well, king's got to be a king of the mountain, right? So, so I walk over to that mountain of drywall with sword in hand, upright, just like this, right? So I'm walking to that drywall. And I take a step on that first piece of drywall, and of course it slides from under my foot. And I fall face forward, keyhole saw up, right into my mouth. And after I realized what had happened, I stood up. Blood was just pouring out of my mouth. I went into where my mom was, and I was like, Mom, I think I need to go to the hospital. And she's like, what happened? I'm like, I fell on a saw in my mouth. How did you do that? But nonetheless, she took me to the hospital, and I think she might have taken me home first and then to the doctor. I don't remember. Anyway, I just remember saying that, he's like, well, it should heal on its own. Apparently I just nicked something, but he's like, he's very fortunate, because if it was like 1 centimeter over, he would have hit like a major artery, and that would have been bad news. So that was an event that took place in my youth. What else? I broke my right arm skateboarding when I was like 13 or 14. Me and a neighbor kid had used a box. It was like a rectangular. It was made by like with 2x10s or 2x8s or something. It was heavy, but we used that as a base for our ramp and a piece of plywood. And I went off the ramp, and the whole thing came apart, and that 2x8 set of boards came up and landed on my arm and broke my arm. And when I went I was at my grandma's, and she said, well, maybe it's not broken. I said, well, I went like this, and my arm went like that, but it did it here. And I was like, I think it's broken. So went and got a cast on that. I burned my forearm across the back of the grill lid when I was a kid, like my entire forearm. My mom said she was really concerned that DFS or somebody was going to come and start investigating our family. They were all just accidents. I mean, there was no foul play, but there was just a lot of them. So, what else? I did. No, that wasn't really. I crawled into the dryer as a kid, and my mom told me that she was going to start the dryer if I didn't get out of there. And you know that if you got the dryer door open, and it's the time everything's set and you hit start, nothing's going to happen. You have to push that button to trigger that the door's closed. So she said I refused to get out of the dryer. Why, I don't know. But she said, I'm going to start it. And so all she did was push that button in the door to like trigger that the door was closed. She thought the whole thing would just kind of jar a little bit and scare me to get me out of the dryer. And she said, nope, it went woo all the way around. So there I went. So yeah, I went around in the dryer for one cycle, I guess. I'm sure there's I don't know if you can tell, but I have a scar right here. And that is from on the swing set as a kid. I fell and I hit my chin on a bar, and my two top teeth bit through my bottom lip. And I think I had to get like one stitch or something. I have a scar there. I'm trying to think if there's any others. I was riding in the back of my brother's pickup truck. My brother and my dad were in the front, and we got to where we were going, and my dad opened the passenger side door to get out. Well, I reached in to the passenger side door to hold on to it to pull myself out of the back of the truck. But before I could get out, my dad slammed the door shut. So I got, I guess, all four fingers slammed shut in the truck door. And my dad just set me down on the couch with an ice pack. Said, "You're good." It's like, "Oh, should we go to the doctor?" "Ah, you're fine." Okay. It's a wonder I'm still here. My mom, I got one more story for you. And this is not, I didn't get hurt in this, but it's just kind of risky. My mom, we're out of town at some church convention, and we were walking to the facility, and we were in a parking garage, and I was like, I'm gonna get up and walk across the wall there, like a tightrope or something. And my mom said, "Okay, well, just be careful." And we got about halfway through this parking garage, and my aunt, who was with us, went over and looked on the other side of this wall. And then she went and talked to my mom, which caused my mom to come over and look at the other side of this wall. And my mom, assuming that it was just another part of the parking garage, or she was surprised to find out that it was just opened to the expressway that was going underneath the parking garage. So she had me get down immediately. So, Mom, I'm sorry. Having kids of my own now, I know that it's stressful and traumatic to have your kids go through anything. So I apologize. But yeah, so much like this pipe, a little banged up. I've been banged up, but I'm still here. And hopefully I will be for a while. But that's my story, or my stories. If you guys have any experiences you wish to share, I would love to hear them in the comments. But otherwise, until next time, I'd appreciate if you would like and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.